Once in a while in the National Hockey League, we end up seeing players whom we inevitably dub to being unicorns. Not because they have horns on their head and they gallop on all fours, but because sometimes these players display traits that are so unique and so effective at the same time that you can't help but watch in awe at how unique of a profile a player has. And so today we are talking about the biggest unicorn on the block, a guy who broke out in 22-23 in ways you could not have even imagined, a player who was near 100 points, he was near 50 goals, and had he played the full season, he actually would have been on pace to hit all of those. Kind of, I guess so, maybe he would have been close. Let's talk today about the best player on the Buffalo Sabres, Tage Thompson, and ask a very simple question: what's next? Because when it comes to the way Thompson has developed as a St. Louis Blues prospect who was really just up and down, not utilized properly, not confident enough, not developed properly, who inevitably was a throw-in in the Ryan O'Reilly trade over to Buffalo, this is a guy who went from 14 points in 38 games played in 2020-2021, which admittedly is not bad. I mean, do the math over 82 games and that's on pace for roughly a 30-point year. But take that profile and go 2 years into the future, and you have a player whose production exponentially grew to 94 points in 78 games played, 47 goals, 47 assists. Last year in 21-22, he had 68 points in 78 games played, so already a really good boost up from there. This graph is like an exponential graph on steroids. The guy has so few points in St. Louis. He's in San Antonio. He's bouncing up and down in the NHL and the AHL. And eventually he makes it work at the National Hockey League level in a way that nobody really expected. But if you're watching the Buffalo Sabres and the way they activated his mind, it was all easy to see come together. Tage Thompson went from a middle to bottom six forward that was used in more so of a checking role to a guy who was given the keys to the car to operate and dominate offensively. 6'7", 218 as a right-handed center, 25 years old. Tage Thompson is a big dude, but he doesn't really play like a big dude. He has the size, yes, but he's not really the big brute force that normally you'd expect a 6'7" player to be. He's more so of a ballerina, a guy with an absolutely lethal piston of a slap shot that can unload pucks on goal and who has hands like silk. The way he handles the puck in tight, around goalies, around defenders, he's got such a calm presence of mind that allows him to facilitate offense in a very unique way that you don't see many other players in the NHL actually do. It's why he had scored 47 goals and 47 assists. He would have really nice handles, but also pretty great snipes as well. So for Tage Thompson, the question is simple: where do we go from here? What happens next? And how worth it is that contract going to be? Right now, Tage is making $7.1 million a season till the end of 2030, which, if he continues being a 100-point caliber guy, is gonna be seen as a steal relatively quickly. We had already seen Leon Draisaitl in Edmonton, and how his $8.5 mil for 8 years became a steal once he was putting up 100 points every single year. Tage Thompson, do you see a similar profile there? And that guy doesn't have a McDavid to bounce off of either. To help us out, we're going over on an article published on thehockeywriters.com by Brevin Monroe from earlier last week. Buffalo Sabres Tage Thompson will score 50 goals in 23-24. Interesting. What does the article go out there and say? Well, it says this, that Thompson was close to 50 last season, and he is the Sabres' best goal scorer. Obviously, Thompson becoming a 50-goal scorer isn't some kind of bold prediction simply due to the fact that he already put up 47 goals in 78 games last year. Had he not been injured for 4 games, there's very good chance he would have had a 50-goal season. However, that was not the case. But this season, it seems likely that he will take another leap in his game and become a 100-plus point player in addition to the 50 goals. The article then talks about the line that in which Thompson played on with Alex Tuch and Jeff Skinner. By the way, did anybody else realize that Jeff Skinner had an 82-point year? My gosh, each of these guys, 30 goal scorers, point per game guys, all super good, and of course Tage Thompson is right down the middle on this pairing, so it's a really good system they've got running in Buffalo right now. The article on the Hockey Writers then talks about the idea of Tage Thompson adding a physical element to his game, and how if he was able to be more physical, this could open up newer opportunities and add a different dynamic to his game. But I did see some Sabres fans talk about this article in particular and say that it's not really a sort of avenue they want to go down. This article was posted onto the Our Sabres subreddit, and some of the comments go out there and say that, hey, I totally disagree with the article's point about playing more physical. That's not Thompson's game, and it doesn't need to be. Everyone loves the players that go out and rack up big hits, me included. However, those players also receive the biggest hits because they have a target on their back. Ask Matthew Tkachuk how that worked out for him in the Stanley Cup Finals. I want Tage healthy and blasting one-timers, not laying the body and mixing it up in front of the net. And that's a pretty good point, honestly. If Tage Thompson is going out there headhunting, that probably leads to more minutes in the penalty box, and it probably leads to more time away from the game. This would also put a target on his back, because everybody's going to be going out there wanting to try to get at the big giant on the ice. Thompson is a lot more effective when he's got free reign to do whatever it is that his mind is able to think of, what avenues he creates on the fly to go to the front of the net, where he's able to stand by himself while Dalibor is cycling it on the right side, in order to send it across to Thompson on the left side, who fires the one-timer in. That is what Thompson excels at, and for right now, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The guy had 94 points in a 78-game season, and really, when you take a look at how good he was and how good he's becoming, there's no telling what the ceiling is here. I mean, NHL players go out there and break records all the time, right? They break their own personal highs, they achieve higher highs, sometimes it's even a higher high within the span of the league, like Connor McDavid getting 150 points. That was a pretty big game-breaking number, and all the other guys behind McDavid are starting to get more points too. So for Tage Thompson, this really could be some sort of a renaissance era in Buffalo led by him. He could be the unicorn dashing into battle as the Buffalo Sabres gear up in a new era. You've got younger guys who are really coming into their own in this team. Casey Mittelstadt had a great year. Just going through the list here, Rasmus Dahlin, of course, that guy is phenomenal. He is going to achieve higher highs as his career goes on for sure. Owen Power improved tremendously this previous season. There's a lot to look forward here for Buffalo. And with Devin Levi in the pipeline too, as we had talked about a few days ago, this could really be the start of something special. And Tage Thompson is the guy at the top. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Where exactly do the Buffalo Sabres go with Tage Thompson from here on out? How many points does this guy get next season? Does he break the 100-point barrier? I mean, it's probably likely he does that, but how high does he go next season? 110? 115? 120 even? Does he get 60 goals on top of that too? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Buffalo Sabres' direction under Tage Thompson and his dominance. How much do you think he's going to be able to produce next year? And do you think he needs to add a physical element to his game? Thoughts in the comment section below about Thompson. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.